Hello everybody, this is Mark. Today what I want to talk about is the specific gear I use with my Nikon P950 when I go out to shoot macro with it. So of course one of the first pieces of gear that you have to have is your Nikon P950. And then you can shoot macro with the P950, but if you put it in macro mode, you actually end up, let's say this is your subject here, this edge of this is your subject here. You actually end up having to almost stick the camera lens right on your subject when you want to take the photo. And for the insects where I'm at, that's just simply impossible. They're too skittish. They would fly away, or they would crawl underneath the leaf and hide, or just start moving to get away from where you're at. So you need some distance when you're trying to shoot macro. The other alternative with the P950 is to go to full zoom and then step back until you reach an area distance away from your subject so that you can actually focus on the subject using autofocus, which will give you a shot that you can crop later on. But with the P950, if you crop too much, you just simply lose too much detail and the photo starts to become pixelated. So in order to circumvent that and come up with the best quality photos that you can take with the P950 when you're trying to shoot macro, I use accessory magnification lenses, okay? And there's a few different types out there. There's a Kenko, there's Raynox lenses, there's Nisi lenses. There's a bunch of different macro lenses out there, but I'm going to talk to you about the ones that I use and the two different types that you have to be careful of if you're going to buy a magnification lens for your P950. The first being a single lens type, which I put this in my email, in my post to the group, but I thought I'd go ahead and do a video. The first is a single lens macro magnification adapter. It's made with one piece of glass, and it's a curved piece of glass which creates a magnification, kind of like reading glasses and stuff that you have when you get older like me. These are nearsighted glasses. They focus up on things near. This allows you to do that, but this is a single lens magnification lens, and the problem with this is that it creates very low quality results in your photograph. It can be a little bit fuzzy. It can have color fringing around the details, like the legs and stuff of your insects or the body of a butterfly or something like that. You'll see like these little rainbow colors sometimes. And then around the very outside edges of the photo with this lens, it can become blurry, or you see these weird color aberrations coming in to your photo. So the single lens magnification diopters are something that I simply don't recommend. They are out there, they are cheap. If you're just starting out and you want to experiment with macro, you might want to get one of these lenses because you can pick up a single lens, magnification lens for less than 10 bucks, 5, 7, 10 bucks or whatever. Also, if you're just starting out shooting macro, even if you're shooting macro for a while, my favorite dioptive lens is a +2 diopter. That allows me to get almost all of the subject in focus when I'm shooting macro with the subject. The higher your diopter number goes, like +3, +4, +5 or whatever, the narrower the area of focus with your subject becomes through the lens, and the shallower the depth of field that you have to focus. The depth of field is that thickness area that your camera will forgive you when you're moving the camera back and forth to get focus. The higher your diopter number, or the more powerful the diopter lens you use, the thinner that gets, until finally you're trying to focus on your subject in an area that's so thin that even if you breathe, your subject will be out of focus. The +2 diopter, I can guarantee you, will give you really good results. I've been using this for 4 years, 5 years now, and I won't go higher than a +2 diopter. I have a +3 and a +4 diopter that I never use because I'm just not satisfied with the results from those. So this is a single lens magnification lens diopter, +2 diopter, but I recommend you don't ever buy one of these unless you just want to experiment to see if you really like macro. The lens that I do use is an achromatic diopter. And let me go ahead and hold these up here for comparison so that you can see. The achromatic lenses are a dual glass lens. It has two pieces of glass in a lens. It's much thicker, as you can see here, than the single diopter lens. It's a thicker piece of two pieces of glass in there. And this is curved in such a way that what it does is it actually controls the light going through the lens and gives you clarity throughout the entire area of the dioptive lens when you're taking a photo. So you get much crisper shots with this. The colors are good. You don't see color fringing around the legs or stuff on your insects and stuff like that. And even the outer edges of your photo through these lenses, the outer edges here, are also in focus just like the rest of the lens when you're shooting your photo. So I definitely recommend getting achromatic lenses. When you buy lenses for your camera, make sure you get the thicker lens. Just make sure that when you're researching it online or you go into a store, tell them that you want an achromatic magnification lens for your camera. And then make sure you buy the right size for your camera. This is a 67mm lens on the Nikon, so you would need to get a 67mm achromatic lens for the camera. So that's the camera setup as far as the diopter goes for going out to shoot macro. It's a +2 magnification lens made by Kenko, and it's a +2 diopter. Diopter is just the power of the lens, +2, +4, +8. But again, just remember that the higher up you go diopter wise, it really becomes difficult to focus, and you're only going to be able to get small portions of your subject in focus on a single shot if you use a really strong diopter. So I prefer to go with just a single shot for macro, which is why I use the +2 diopter. And the +2 diopter, what that allows me to do, I'll go ahead and focus in on this for you. Let's say I'm out in the woods and my bug is right here. The +2 diopter, I can zoom out quite a bit, and then I shoot macro in manual mode. Most people shoot macro in manual mode, by the way. And then what I do is when I find my subject, I just rock back and forth. And as you can see here, I'm actually only able to see this little label here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have it magnified to the point that I can only just see that little label. And as you can see right now, it's in good focus. And look how far away I am. I'm a good 18 to 20 inches away from my subject, which is fine for insects because they normally won't fly away if you're about that distance away from them. The higher your diopter power gets, let's say I had a +5 diopter on my camera now, zooming in to the same amount that I just had, I'd be right back here again with my camera. The higher the diopter power, the closer you have to get to your subject for it to be in focus. So this is the diopter that I use for the camera. And then the next thing I use is a speed light. Okay, this is my Godox V1 speed light that I use with the camera. And I just slide this onto the hot shoe here. And then pull it over, snap it into place. And that's got my Godox flash on here for shooting with the camera. Then if I turn my camera on, and I turn my Godox power on, it's pretty much plug and play. And then I would just zoom into my subject. Let's zoom in here and then take the shot. So that's just with the Godox lens on there. It actually has a little bit of a diffuser on the front of the Godox lens. But what I did is I went out and I bought a Godox diffuser set that actually is made for this specific flash. These are the new round flashes that Godox is coming out with. Most of the flashes that you'll see advertised online, if you go out and you look at flashes, they have a little square front. Those are fine too. The Godox TT350 is a really good flash for macro, really, really good. You don't need to go crazy and get this kind of flash. It's just that I like to buy the better flashes and stuff for my cameras. The Godox TT350, you can probably pick that up now for about $60, $70 maybe even if you look around you might be able to find it for around $40 to $50 or whatever. It gives you plenty of light to take macro shots, and it's what I used for 4 years. This one just gives me more power, and because it's got the round flash, it pushes out a more uniform light out over my subject when I'm taking photos. But even with this, I have to have a diffuser. Now, what is a diffuser? A diffuser is simply something that diffuses the light. It softens the light, and it helps spread the light out evenly across the entire subject area. But the main purpose of it is to take away the harshness of the flash, the really, really brightness of the flash when you're taking a photo of something. So when you put a diffuser on a lens, this set comes with magnetic diffusers. This is actually the initial diffuser, but I put that onto here, and then what I do is I snap this magnetically. It just snaps right on the lens. And then I take my bounce card. This is my flash bounce card, and I put this in here, push it into place. It's locked in. And now with my bounce card, I can actually tilt that down to bounce the flash down onto my subject, or I can have it out straight to shoot straight into the subject, and it keeps light from escaping out of the top. But I'll normally just tilt it down just a little bit like that when I'm taking photos so that it bounces the flash down onto my subject. And then to soften it just a little bit more and push the light out a little bit softer across the whole subject, I take the dome and I just stick that on there. That also attaches magnetically, and I'm good to go. So this is my setup when I go out to shoot macro with the Nikon P950. So that's basically it. +2 achromatic diopter lens to screw onto the front of your camera, which allows you to be about 18 to 24 inches away from your subject when you're shooting macro. And then the other thing to remember is that you can shoot macro in auto focus if you want, but it doesn't work that well. And here's why it doesn't work that well. You're still using an achromatic lens on the front of your camera when you're trying to shoot the macro. And even when you shoot and you get focus in auto, because you have that extra magnification on the lens, still if you move a little bit, the subject becomes out of focus. The autofocus continuous doesn't work with the macro lens. So you're better off just using manual focus. And what you do when you want manual focus on the subject is you get your subject in almost focus through the lens, and then you just kind of rock back and forth until you see your focus peaking. I use focus peaking. What focus peaking is, I'm sorry, I'm getting kind of all over the place here. Focus peaking is something that you turn on your camera, and focus peaking, the way it works is it puts a little highlight. You'll see these little highlight colors show up around the outer edges of your subject as you're moving in. When you're getting closer and closer and closer to focus, the outer sharp edges of your subject will start to light up with your focus peaking color. And that's telling you, okay, you're getting in focus here. And then when you get a nice steady line around your subject, you just go ahead and take the shot, okay? But yeah, with manual focus, as you're focusing, you just half press your shutter because you're in manual focus. You're not in autofocus. You don't have to worry about anything. And then you just rock back and forth until you get your subject in focus, and you see those focus peaking colors start to show up, and then boom, you take your shot, and you're good. You got a good focus photo. So that's how I shoot my macro when I go out. It's a lot of fun for me. It works really well. I have a +2 achromatic diopter lens from Kenko. There are a myriad of companies out there that make achromatic lenses. One of the most popular achromatic lenses right now that are out there that you may want to take a look at are Nisi achromatic lenses. But even if you got a Nisi, I'd still say stick with the +2 power for the Nisi diopter, or maybe +3 at the most. But your Nisi diopters are extremely expensive. They're about $100 or so, $110, $120. My achromatic lenses cost me about $80. And your achromatic lenses are going to be more expensive than the single glass lenses. but they're 1,000 times worth it. So if you are going to get into macro and you want to shoot macro and shoot it well and end up with good results, go ahead and buy the achromatic lenses. You're just wasting money if you buy the single lens. But if you're not sure macros for you, but you want to experiment with it and play around with it a little bit, go ahead and go out there and buy yourself a +2 single lens diopter. And go out and shoot some macro and see how you like it. If you don't like it, then you're not out the 80, 90, 100 bucks from buying an achromatic lens. That's it. That's basically, I just wanted to go ahead and put the video together. I know it's going to be a little bit long. I hope I didn't jump around all over the place too much, but that's the gear that I carry when I go out when I want to shoot macro with any of my cameras, actually. So anyway, I hope this helped you guys. I hope it helped you understand a little bit. If you do have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the group, and I'll try to answer any questions I may have for you about macro shooting styles or whatnot. And that's it. Okay. Until we see you again next time. Take care. Bye bye.